Hey everyone, welcome to Encore, and today I'm going to demonstrate how I use my beauty blender. Hey everyone, welcome back. So many of you guys have inquired as to what is the proper way of using beauty blenders. Now for those of you guys who doesn't know what a beauty blender is, it's basically a latex-free sponge, and it's very distinct because of its egg shape, okay, and it's hot pink. And you can pretty much get this at like Naimies or from Beauty Blender website as well, or Alcone in New York. They sell these. This is actually from Alcone. I got this recently. I have one, but it kind of broke. Like the tip kind of chipped off. But and I really like using the tip, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you why I like using the tip. You know, the pointed tip of the egg shape. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to soak this in water, okay? And you can just get a bowl of water, all right? And you can just pretty much just throw it in there and just let it soak for a little bit. So while that's soaking, the beauty blender is really ideal for mineral foundation users because it's going to give you a more flawless finish to your foundation, and it's going to give you a little bit more of that airbrushed look, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today and how to achieve that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my skin, and as many of you know, I have a really oily skin, so that's why mineral makeup is a little bit more ideal for me, or anything that has a mattifying formulation is a little bit more ideal. Now if I don't use any you know, kind of like a mattifying foundation, then what I do is I use an anti-shine or a skin mattifier or something to that sort. But for summer look, I kind of like a little bit of that dewy look, so I wanted to use a little bit of the natural oils that my skin produces, and hopefully that will seep through the mineral makeup I'm going to use today and give me a little bit more of that dewy look. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime my face. Now, face primer is very important because it's really going to help your foundation of any formulation, whether it's mineral makeup or just regular foundation, liquid creams, or gels. It's going to help it adhere to your skin, and at the same time it's going to also utilize the natural oils that your skin produces, so that's going to help the product, you know, stay put as well, so that way it doesn't fade, you know, slip off your skin at some point. Now Youngblood has a product called Mineral Primer. Now this face primer is specifically designed for mineral makeup users. So this is what I'm going to use today, and I'm just going to apply this much like any primer. It's clear gel form, and I'm just going to use my brush. I usually tend to use brush for my primers, but you know, if you have clean hands and if you're just doing it on yourself, feel free to apply it much like a lotion. Now I already moisturized about half an hour ago, so just going to apply my primer now. I'm just going to start from the forehead. I usually just start in my T-zone and then spread it out. And with primer, just make sure you get a nice even coat on your skin. Now it doesn't have to be like, you know, totally soaked in primer. You just want a nice even coverage, nice even coat throughout your skin. Okay, a nice thin layer is fine. And with primers, you know, you can apply your makeup right away, or you know, you can let it kind of sit for a little while and wouldn't make any difference. Unlike moisturizers, wherein you're going to need some time for your skin to really absorb the moisturizer so that you'll really get the benefit from the moisturizer. So with this, you can apply and then you can start on your foundation. Okay, so once you apply that nice and evenly, you're going to be ready to apply your mineral foundation. Now, as far as mineral foundation, you can pretty much use anything. They're all the same pretty much, you know. So just turn a blind eye on brands, and what you want to keep an eye on is really the ingredient, because there might be some ingredient that you're going to be sensitive to, like bismuth, for instance. A lot of people are sensitive to that. You know, there are certain colorants. It might contain carmine, and you might be allergic to carmine, so just kind of keep an eye on that and just turn a blind eye on brands. So I'm going to use my mineral foundation, and actually I'm a little tanner right now because I just got back from Greece and Las Vegas, so I'm a little darker than my usual foundation, but hopefully it'll still be okay. And what I usually do is I just kind of tap a little bit of the product right on the cap, okay, and just like that. And then I pretty much kind of just tap it so that it's kind of like all over the cap, and it's not just in one spot. Alright, so that's going to be ready for use, and let's go back to the Beauty Blender. Now the Beauty Blender had enough time to soak, and what you want to do is squeeze it, but don't squeeze it so hard that it's completely like almost dry and just damp. You want a little bit of moisture on it. Alright, so just like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to stipple, okay, the wide end of the egg right into the mineral foundation, nice and lightly. And what you want to do is you want a nice even coverage of product right in the base of the egg. Okay. Alright, so just like that. We're going to need a little bit more on this side. Okay, and you can also just kind of like swirl it a little bit. Alright. And what you're going to need to do is stipple it on, alright? And what I mean by stippling is much like using a stippling brush. You just do it in dabbing motion, alright? See how like airbrush looking that's coming, and you're using mineral foundation. So you just keep dabbing that, okay, until you get the coverage you want. Okay, it's going to give you a nice kind of like layering effect as opposed to just, you know, caking on the makeup. And again, caked on makeup is human error. You cake that on, so try to practice building your makeup as opposed to applying it on thickly right away. Okay, and a little bit of coverage in there, so you just dab it on. Just like so. If you need more, use some more. And it's very, very natural finish looking. That's one thing I like about using a beauty blender. You might think it might be just a little bit more effort using it, but where it comes down to, it's really not that much more than like using a buffer brush. Just going to put a little bit on my lid. Okay. Just going to dab a little bit more on my jawline. If there are certain areas that you need to conceal, just go ahead and do that first before you apply your mineral foundation. Okay? So just like that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to layer some more right where it's needed. Kind of right here. Okay, and just make sure you thin that out if it's too much. It's just going to soften some of my acne marks. Okay, so I got my initial application. Alright, so it's pretty easy. And then I'm going to show you how I use the pointed tip. Now the pointed tip is really ideal for hard to reach areas, like under the eye right here, that the wide part can't get to, and it's not like you can easily squeeze it. So the pointed part is more ideal for places like that, right on the side of the nose, because again, you know, if you're dabbing that crevice right there, it's not going to get covered. You're not going to get coverage. So what I do is the same thing, is I dip the tip, the pointed tip, right into the product. Okay, and then same thing, I would stipple it onto the hard to reach areas. Side of the nose, under the eye, sometimes above the brows if you don't want products right into your eyebrows. And you can use the pointed tip, you know, to just apply it right there. Certain areas like underneath the nostrils over here. Alright. And then, you know, just kind of like stand back, look in the mirror, see where you need it more, and then just kind of go over that. Okay. Alright, just like so. Now, to contour your face, you're going to need a darker tone foundation, of course, so that you can do some contouring and shading. And I'm going to show you how to use that how to do that using a beauty blender. Okay, now for contouring, I'm using Mineral Makeup. This time it's going to be the Don't Press, and this is from MAC, and this is Deep Dark. And I rinsed my beauty blender, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, again, the pointed tip, alright? I'm just going to dab it right into the product. And the baked mineral makeup is wet or dry, so you can apply this wet or dry. And what I usually do is I just kind of like concentrate on where I want to contour. Okay, so I'm going to contour the cheekbones, just right there. Okay, I'm going to place it first, and then I'm going to blend it later. That's why it's called a beauty blender. So place it right there. Okay, and that's why I like using the pointed tip, because it's going to give you a little bit more of a precision placement. All right, just like that. Okay, just make sure that's even. All right, and then what I usually do is I use the base and soften that up, so make sure that it doesn't have lines and it blends nicely with the other foundation color. There you go, a little pop on the cheek there. Same thing on the other side. Again, I'm kind of doing it in a dabbing motion, but also kind of like in a blending motion, because I don't want to disturb the foundation that I already applied there. Okay, just like so. And then I'm just going to touch a little bit of the nose. I'm just going to kind of contour that a little bit. There you go. And again, use the wide part to just blend that a little bit. See that nice contour coming out? And it's very nice and clean looking. It's very easy to do. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to warm the forehead a little bit. Same thing. Let's use the base. Just like that. And a little bit under over here, and that's going to make my lip pop a little bit more. Alright, so that's really good. So you get a little bit of contoured cheek right here, nice contouring on the nose, a little bit pop on the lip by just contouring underneath the lip a little bit, and a little bit of warmth on the forehead. So it looks like you got a little bit of color from the sun. Okay, and then after that I'm going to go back to the regular foundation, and I'm just going to give it a nice final finishing, so that way it looks nice and natural and it blends nicely with the foundation color. Okay, now if you feel like you need to highlight, you can also use another skin finish, alright, like you know, something a little bit more like a pinkish color, like champagne is a popular one. And you can just apply it right on top of the cheekbones, or right down the nose, a little bit on the chin. It's going to give you a little bit more of that highlighted look. Okay, and there you have it. So that's how I use my beauty blender. It'll give you a nice, beautiful finish to your mineral makeup foundation, and you can also use it for contouring. A little bit more pop on the cheekbones, a little bit more pop on the lip, definitely the nose. And it's pretty easy. Practice makes perfect. And thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!